Cereal?
Cereals are cereal. Cereal is cereal. Cereal.
Cereals. Cereals have and always will stand the test of time. When you're a child, it was the easiest thing to consume, and it was also fun. If you were fancy, you had the OG boba tea straw bowl that you would suck down in some Cocoa Puff goodness. But if you're a regular kid, then you would just still suck down that bowl like a pig at a trough. The prizes were fun sometimes. The quality wasn't the greatest, but it was the thrill of finding these collectibles and these boxes that would mean nothing to you by the end of the week. However, when it comes to the holidays, it's all about the seasonal products, especially Halloween. The beginning of fall brings us a lot of things. Pumpkin carving, apple picking, orange cardigans, pumpkin spice leaves, a big batch of chili, but most importantly, Count Chocula. I mean monster cereals, but seriously, Count Chocula. They're like the Destiny Childs of General Mills. You got Count Chocula's Beyonce, Boo Berry was obviously Kelly, and we all know Frankenberry was Michelle. These guys have become powerhouses in pop culture, so much so that they want to make movies out of these boys. Although they only come around seasonally, these guys have earned their stars in the General Mills Walk of Fame. So let's talk about some spooky cereals.
The year is 1960s. Lucky Charms is going very strong because they've introduced grain cereal with marshmallows as a way to lie to kids so that they actually eat cereal in the morning. General Mills wanted to debut these chocolate and strawberry cereals at the same exact time in order to maximize profits, but they didn't want to bite the dick of the leprechaun too hard. General Mills went to their advertising company, Dancer Fitzgerald Sample, which is a really bad name for an advertising company. You'd figure because they're an advertising company, they'd have a better name in the first place. General Mills doesn't want some crappy bear, okay? They want some S-tier level mascots. They want the tiger. They want that captain. They want those rice boys. I don't know, they're popular, I guess. They went to this company in hopes of finding the next big box boys. Tony Jaffe, head of the advertising agency, brings in copywriter Laura Levine to work out who their star box boy will be. They honed in on the idea of parodying Universal monsters, Dracula and Frankenstein's monsters specifically. Thus, Levine provides a name for our boys, Count Chocula and Frankenberry. The whole concept was monsters, but monsters who were scaredy cats. They'd act tough, but they'd be terrified at the sight of a little kitten. Jaffe brings the concept over to General Mills with overwhelmingly positive feedback, because who doesn't love spooky stuff? Levine, with the help of illustrators George Kern and animators Bill Tolis and Bill Melendez, brought the concepts full circle by creating their kid-friendly looks. They actually spent 2 whole years tightening their looks before their debut in March of 1971.
(1971), the Spooky Boys were born. The boys gained a lot of popularity thanks to their animated commercials that would air during Saturday morning cartoons. So the commercials would always have Count Chocula come off as a confident show-off who would just showcase his big ego, while Frankenberry was kind of more soft and lighthearted, but these two were always in competition with one another, all the time up until they always saw like a cat or a kid, then they become a bunch of scaredy cats. Count Chocula was voiced by actor Larry Kenney, a voice actor for previous works such as Thundercats, and also did the voice for Sonny the Cuckoo Bird. And his famous tagline as Count Chocula was, "I want to eat your cereal." Frankenberry was voiced originally by Bob McFadden, who also did some voiceover for Thundercats and Cool McCool, but Rob Pruitt, who voices the Blue M&M, has since taken over to portray the character's voice. When it came to the presentation of the boxes, the design was always on point with the Spooky brand, until a little controversy hit, but we'll get more into that later. But arguably probably the worst feature of the cereals was always the prizes. So I'm not going to heavily criticize the prizes because after all, they are cereal prizes. So I'm not expecting anything like Toys R Us level kind of prize. But there always was that surprise of joy that I would get whenever I found a small little cereal prize inside these boxes. Well, my mom would buy it, but you know, you get the gist. I would be the one to enjoy it, so. I would also point out that at least there was some effort back then. Buying a Count Chocula cereal now has you downloading a spooky stencil, which is lame. So compared to this shit, this is what you used to get. The first boxes of Count Chocula had a grand prize of a Puff-A-Plane. This basic bitch color scheme planes would, you puff and it planes. The Frankenberry grand prize was a Pop Rocket. It consisted of 3 plastic rocket-shaped pieces and a rubber band to form a rocket straw. I don't even know what that is. Even when I look at it, I'm like, how do you form a straw? The cereal also came with a poster kit that you could color with a set of 4 markers. The idea sounded rad until you find out that Frankenberry and Count Chocula were already colored. What bullshit. It's like if Lisa Frank grabbed your coloring book and just finished the whole thing. 1972, however, had better prize for the cereals, which was Monster Holographic Action Rice. However, in that same year, we had the worst prize of all time, a paint set. However, picking it back up in 1979, the cereals contained a cutout cardboard records known as flexi discs. You could listen to the many adventures of the boys, such as The Monsters Go Disco, Count Chocula Goes to Hollywood, and Monster Adventures in Outer Space. You can actually listen to these now on YouTube if you want it. They're pretty good. When I think of Count Chocula, the way that he sounds exactly like Count Chocula would sound. But surprisingly, Frankenberry sounds like British, and Boo Berry just sounds like Igor.
If I win the contest, Frankenberry, I'll go to Hollywood and become a star. I am tired of being just another plain old monster.
Why should you win, Count Chocula?
Because I look just like my great-great-uncle Drac from Transylvania. He was bitten by the acting bug and became a star. Have you ever seen him, Boo Berry?
Oh, yes. I always enjoy seeing his movies on TV. They're so frightening.
Now that we covered the prizes, let's introduce the rest of the Spooky Boys. 1973 gave us the introduction to what I think was the ultimate competitor to Count Chocula, which was Boo Berry.
I think Boo Berry is better than Count Chocula.
Ooh, controversial. Boo Berry completed the infamous trio to the Monster cereal franchise. Boo Berry, who was just a dopey blue ghost, gave us our first blueberry marshmallow cereal. 1974 introduced us to Fruit Brute, a frosted fruit-flavored cereal with lime. Ugh. The mascot was just the werewolf man. And then in 1987, General Mills gave us the last member of the group, Yummy Mummy. It was another fruit-flavored cereal with vanilla-flavored marshmallows. The 2 members didn't last as long as a trio. Fruit Brute lasted for 8 years and then disappeared in 1982. Yummy Mummy had the shortest run, only lasting 5 years, marking 1992 as the last year. Fortunately, these cereals did come back in the fall of 2013. There were some alterations made to the cereal though. Fruit Brute came back under the name Fruit Brute. It is implied that the cereal name change was made under legal circumstances. You know how Fruit Loops is named Fruit Loops? You get the gist. Fruit Brute changed to a cherry-flavored cereal, while Yummy Mummy became an orange cream-flavored cereal, both with regular marshmallows. But unfortunately, they disappeared once more in 2014.
In 1972, the earliest iteration of Frankenberry had a pink pigment in it that turned kids' turds pink. This is obviously kind of a big problem because we had parents literally taking their kids to the hospital because they thought that their kids were shitting blood. Shitting blood is bad for you. Go see a doctor if that's happening to you. The media coined this term the Frankenberry stool, my favorite Halloween movie. During the Halloween season of 1987, General Mills tried to be creative by bringing in the real Universal monsters. The real Frankenstein's monster and the real Dracula were brought in to stand alongside their cartoon counterpart cereal monsters. The black and white images of Bela Lugosi and Boris Karloff were put on the back of the boxes and appeared in the commercials. This is where things get kinda crazy. So General Mills started using real images on the back of their cereal boxes, but they had not considered what Dracula's medallion would look like as a compressed image. In the 1931 film, Lugosi wore a 6-pointed medallion with a stone in the middle. When the General Mills team used the image, the medallion became flat and two-dimensional. This made the medallion look like a Star of David. Big deal, right? Well, let's talk about
blood libel.
Blood libel was the anti-Semitic belief that was propagated throughout the Middle Ages in Europe. It was a slanderous accusation that Jewish people kidnapped and murdered Christians so they could use their blood for religious rituals. These accusations prompted the arrest or even murder of 150 Jewish people. The Jewish people did not take this lightly, as they depicted Dracula as a blood-sucking Jewish monster.
Throughout the years, the monster trios have been turned into a bunch of novelties and collectibles. Yeah, you can get the monsters in all kinds of shit, such as like Hot Wheels, lip balm, and Funko Pops. And in 2014, the monster cereals have also partnered with DC Entertainment to create an entirely different new look for the monster trio. And the boys might legit get their movie. So you might ask, why even make an essay about cereal? Monster cereals, to be exact. Well, the cereals bring a nostalgic feeling to my childhood. They bring me back to simpler times when I can get a bowl of Count Chocula and wear like my Old Navy witch themed pajamas and make it just in time to watch Halloween Town 2: Calabar's Revenge. And researching these boys, they've made me relate to them on a much more personal level. If Frankenberry could get out of bloody stool fiasco, then I could get out of my problems. Boo Berry's third wheel vibes completely give me all the feels because I relate to that to the core. And basically, Count Chocula is like my ride or die cereal for life. Seriously. So these monsters, these spooky boys, are a huge part of Halloween for me. And cereal, honestly, is my stress food. So when the boys come back, I'm happy.